illness. Welcome to Gist Zone.
All right, my name is the Eselusien Wego One. Ona nyokoko nyonyo.
I bring you wonderful news. The village headmaster is coming back to your screen.
Rugged, you just go for you, I don't know for you.
Second, it's called Oja Village. We know how to at all.
And I know that even you too, you are getting a lot of orders. Hey,
I love you so much.
And how did I give you the impression?
50-year anniversary.
You mean anniversary?
I talk with that now.
I'm a fire, don't be beat up, come back up.
More than a decade ago, terrorist elements under the banner of Boko Haram launched an insurgency in the northeastern Nigeria, which later spiraled into a major conflict with tentacles reaching many parts of the country. With several operational titles, Zaman Lafia, Lafia Dole, and currently Hatin Kai, the counterinsurgency war by the military is making significant progress, recovering abducted persons, liberating communities, supporting the resettlement program, and subduing the terrorists. This has led to mass surrendering of Boko Haram and ISWAP fighters, their families, and reclamation of more conflict-torn areas. What is accounting for the recent successes by the Nigerian military in the northeast theater of Operation Hatin Kai? How much needs to be done to ensure the insurgents lay down all their arms, embrace peace overtures, and end the protracted conflict? This is our focus this afternoon on Panorama from the studios of NTA Maiduguri. I am your uncle, Abubakar Musa. Foremost traditional ruler in Yoruba land, Oba Lamidi Olayiwola Adeyemi III, has joined his ancestors. Alafin, a prominent monarch of the Yoruba race, who is also the permanent chairman of Oyo State Council of Obas, passed on Friday night at Afe Babalola Teaching Hospital, Ado Ekiti. The 84-year-old man was born to the family of Raji Adeniran Adeyemi, the former Alafin of Oyo, who was exiled in 1954. Meanwhile, our correspondent in Ibadan, who visited the late monarch's palace, had a chat with the director, media and publicity to the late Alafin of Oyo.
It's true that Alafin passed on yesterday. Alafin was a lover of peace, the first paramount to be appointed to be conferred with senior advocate of peace. The first paramount ruler to be appointed by four reputable universities in Nigeria.
Move on now. Nigerian entrepreneurs and investors have been tasked to emulate the Dangote Industries Limited by channeling their ideas and resources towards creating firm anchors of enduring economic prosperity for the nation through massive investments in worthy enterprises. President Muhammadu Buhari, who threw the challenge while granting audience to the chairman and board of directors of Dangote Group, promised to sustain efforts at implementing needed reforms towards improving the ease of doing business. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has more details.
Exactly 1 month ago, President Muhammadu Buhari at Ibeju Lekki inaugurated
The new $2.5 billion Dangote fertilizer plant, regarded as Africa's largest granulated urea fertilizer complex and the second largest of such plants in the world, receiving the chairman and board of directors of Dangote Industries Limited on a thank you visit for the honor done to them. The president maintains that the coming on stream of the fertilizer plant was a most welcome booster to his administration's strategy towards achieving food security and reducing poverty.
Given recent developments globally, especially the effect of the ongoing war in Europe on worldwide food supply chain, I must commend your foresight for bringing the plant into operation at the time you did. I know that market realities will bring pressure to bear on Dangote Fertilizer Limited to seek to meet the demands of your export customers. However, given your group's well-known patriotic vision, I am confident that your board will continue to accord priority to meet local demands of our farmers.
Apart from noting the scope and scale of the business empire of Dangote Group and its positive impact on the nation's economy, the president is also delighted that the company is also committed to not only growing existing investments to enhance wealth and job creation, but also seeking new opportunities to help Nigeria's economic diversification drive.
I want to assure you that the government will do everything possible to enhance development in infrastructure, especially in energy and transportation sectors. We will also continue to implement needed reforms in the public service to significantly improve the ease of doing business. Entrepreneurs such as Alhaji Aliko Dangote are unique gifts to their societies and the institutions they build, and they often become the pillars of stable, enduring, prosperous economies.
The chairman of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, had told the president that despite the unprecedented challenges faced, especially over the past 5 years, Dangote Industries Limited remains strongly committed to the pursuit of its vision to becoming the leading provider of the people's essential needs in food, shelter, and energy services.
Our belief is that our country has the potential to be a strong industrial nation capable of not only meeting its basic needs of our citizens, but making significant contributions to Africa's economic transformation. We firmly believe that Nigeria will be the powerhouse of the continent's inclusive and sustainable economic development through industrialization and strategic diversification.
He described President Buhari's unequivocal commitment to the creation of an inclusive, diversified, and resilient economy based on the promotion of domestic productive capacity as a source of great strength and encouragement. Dangote Group also subscribes fully to the economic policy stance of the government aimed at ensuring that the nation produces what it consumes and consumes what it produces, which it believes is a call to action. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Long Ramadan fast steadily winds down. The last 10 days are considered the most sacred, as faithful are expected to increase devotion to the Almighty God in order to reap bounties from the night of power that is expected within the odd nights. Yagum Subukar in this report takes a look at the significance of the night and the holy month of Ramadan.
The month-long Ramadan fast is considered a period where Muslim faithful come closer to Allah. But in the last 10 days, their acts of worship are expected to increase with the expectation of witnessing the night of power. The night of power is a night greater than 1,000 months where Allah shows mercy to his creation. What are Muslims expected to engage in during the last 10 days? And what are the lessons of the month of Ramadan? With me to discuss more on this is an Islamic scholar, Imam Jafar Imam, who will shed more light on this. Sir, you are welcome. What are Muslims expected to engage in during the last 10 days of Ramadan?
Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah. We are now in the last 10 days. And this last 10 days is mainly for emancipation from the hellfire, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives all his servants. Whoever seeks Allah's forgiveness is automatically forgiven.
Okay, so sir, now what are the key lessons derived from the holy month of Ramadan?
Alayhi salatu wasalam himself, he goes into itikaf, where he isolates himself and he confines himself into masjid, and then without coming out, without even attending to some of his social problems at home, he always engages himself in the mosque for the whole 10 days and then seeking for Allah's forgiveness for his ummah. So this is a lesson for us to always emulate what he did, and then his advice us to always emulate what he did, and then always collectively seek for forgiveness for Allah at all times. This is the lesson that we learn. And the one thing that we need to do is to intensify efforts towards praying for this nation. Because in even our own second stanza of our prayers of the national anthem, he said, guide our leaders right. And they help our youth to know the truth.
Well, you have heard it all from Imam Jafar Imam. May we be among the beneficiaries of the night of power. It's back to you in the studio.
Very well, Yagumsu. Let's focus our attention on issues concerning security now. Leadership of the Nigeria Governors Forum has registered its condolences over the recent violent attacks in Kanam and was the local government areas of Plateau State, leading to death of many. Chairman of the forum and Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, who led the delegation, described the twin attacks as unfortunate and a huge setback to Governor Simon Lalong peace-building efforts in the state. The forum donated 50 million naira for victims of the dastardly act and promised to deploy every means possible to prevent future attacks by terrorists and other criminal syndicates. Nigeria's Governors Forum also consoled the governor over the demise of the nation's Statistician General, Dr. Simon Harry, who died recently, and prayed God to comfort the state and the entire country. Governor Simon Bako Lalong appreciates the sympathy visit and pledged to uncover the murderers and sustain commitment in the protection of lives and property of law-abiding citizens at all times. And still on issues concerning security, the Northeast Nigeria has continued to enjoy significant peace, especially with the ongoing operations by the military aimed at stabilizing the region that has suffered from more than a decade of conflict. Nigeria's military has in recent times recorded many successes in the counter-insurgency operations. Memuna Garba will now tell us more.
Prior to the coming of the present administration, the region was virtually under constant insurgency attacks, with some communities under the occupation of the terrorists. The federal and state governments in the region then made concerted efforts to rid the northeast of terrorism, as the military got unwavering support, where a lot of new weapons were injected into the theater to enhance their operational capabilities.
We have seen improvement in the security situations. Particularly practically, we have not seen for quite a number of days the issue of bombardments in our society, even the issue of attacking road users, travelers has been drastically reduced.
The Nigerian Armed Forces has the wherewithal to deal with any kind of emerging threats to the nation, and we need peace.
Consequently, the improved situation was as a result of several approaches devised by the military.
We are determined to get across them and move and defeat this enemy.
The recovery of cache of weapons, other equipment, and mass surrendering of the terrorists, with over 50,000 in recent times, is also seen as a sign of relief and near end to the crisis.
Many of them who have seen the light have surrendered, and the better for it. But those who choose to remain in the bushes, we will give them a special forces treatment.
Sustained synergy between the army, air component, police, and other security operatives made it possible for the return of normalcy in many areas, including the return of refugees and resettlement of IDPs.
The issue of community policing is key. I will have a lot of time in southern Borno to go and enlighten them in order to bring peace to our dear state.
Through Operation Hadinkai and other offensive activities, the public now understand the nature of asymmetric warfare involving both kinetic and non-kinetic approaches, as everyone is being carried along. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Northeastern Nigeria is still reeling in the war of attrition that has claimed the lives of thousands of people, members of the armed forces, massive destruction of communities, displacement and setback in societal development, among other attributes of war. Borno State, the epicenter of the crisis, has suffered most and still remains the fulcrum of the counter-insurgency operation, as Nigeria's military, the multinational joint task force, and other partners battle to subdue the terrorist elements. Now, with me to discuss ongoing efforts to end the conflict is the Theatre Commander Northeast, Theatre of Operation Hainkai, Major General Christopher Musa. Sir, it's always a pleasure to have you join us on
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, Theatre Commander, recent exploits of Operation Hainkai are worth celebrating as the different Boko Haram and ISWAP crumble. How was this achieved and which locations?
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure being here. The successes so far achieved has not been easy. It's a complement of so many things put together. As you're aware, our approach is towards the kinetic and the non-kinetic. The kinetic comes from the military using force to achieve success, while the non-kinetic aspect is humanitarian, governmental, ministerial, and all sorts. So we have been able to put all together to ensure that we achieve success. We're getting the maximum support and cooperation from the federal, from the state, from the government, and then from the military itself. The Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, Chief of Air Staff, the Chief of Defense Staff we're all commanders here in the theater. So the approach is based on the experience, on what is being required. And there's a better understanding now, there's a better synergy, and the communities are equally being carried along. And so we get information as quickly and as quickly as they can, which has assisted us. If you remember also late last year, we were able to get a number of equipments which has enhanced our capacity and capabilities. So all this put together is why we are achieving the success we're doing now.
So interesting to hear that, so I must say. Now, how do we contain some pockets of resistance by the insurgents, especially in parts of southern Borno and around Maiduguri, as farmers begin preparations for the season?
Yeah, thank you. As you're aware, asymmetric warfare is a kind of warfare you are dealing with non-state actors. They are driven by ideology, which is inborn on individuals, and that's what makes it more difficult to address. But what we are doing is we have been able to observe how they operate, and then we counter what they are doing. We know they are always fond of looking for soft targets to attack, areas where they are not defended, and that's why, so that they show that they are still present and still very potent. We're putting measures. Last year, the farming session was good. Some level of harvest were gotten, and I think this year we intend to make sure it is more. There should be bumper harvest this more, and then so all the security agencies are putting hands together. If you know, we have the civil defense, they have the agro rangers. We're using the civilian JTF and the hunters and the vigilantes. Everybody is contributing to the success in the theater. I will assure you that we're putting measures in place for the southern Borno and northern Adamawa states to equally be secured.
Okay, Major General Christopher Musa, what are the latest numbers in terms of the mass surrendering of Boko Haram and ISWAP fighters, and how is this development turning the tide of the conflict?
As a date, we have over 51,500 that have surrendered, both the combatants and the non-combatants. We have men within that number is about 11,000, and the rest are women and children. The importance of this is that people should understand that the ability to surrender reduces the capability of the terrorists. I'm sure nobody was aware that we had this large number within the forest and all coming out. We can tell you that a lot are still willing to surrender, and a lot of them are still in the bushes. Some of them have been held against their will. Some were born in the system, and those are the things were equally being addressed. But the ability to surrender has actually given us an edge over the terrorists. We have been able to push them out.
It appears time is not on our side, but we just have to take this last question before we let you go. So quickly, is that President Muhammadu Buhari, within the week, emphatically acknowledged that you have, with recent turn of events, degraded the terrorists in the Northeast. What does it portend for morale of troops?
No.
Just briefly, sir.
Yes, troops' morale is very, very high. We want to maintain the pressure and will sustain the efforts. We're operating combinedly with the Multinational Joint Task Force, the Operation Hatlinkai, including the members of the communities, civilian JTF, the vigilantes and the hunters. And everybody putting all his effort together is what we're achieving, and we want to sustain that. We assure the President Commander-in-Chief that the Armed Forces of Nigeria, Operation Hatlinka in particular, is doing everything and will continue to push until we achieve the peace in the Northeast.
Theater Commander, Northeast Theater of Operation Hatlinka, Major General Christopher Musa, we appreciate you so much for your insight into Panorama this afternoon, and our best wishes to you.
Thank you very much.
If you're just joining us, you're on to Panorama on Africa's window to the world, the Nigerian Television Authority. Let's take a break now. More stories for you shortly.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
With us on Panorama. Let's move on now. Minister for Women Affairs, Dame Pauline Tallen, has reacted to another ugly case of domestic violence involving a 32-year-old Samuel Matthew of Anguldi in Jos South local government, who mutilated his wife, Mercy Samuel, tearing open her stomach with a knife. The victim, however, died shortly after a surgery. While condemning the attack, the minister called for the immediate arrest of the perpetrator and urged relevant organizations to come to the aid of the victims' children through psychosocial counseling to combat the effect of the trauma resulting from the incident. Dame Tallen urged the Plateau State Government, the Bukuru Police Division, FIDA, and Association of Women Journalists to properly handle the case and ensure they expose all forms of domestic violence in the society. Meanwhile, the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Tallen, is advocating psychiatric tests for intending couples as part of marriage requirement in Nigeria. The advocacy is coming on the heels of the recent increase of gender-based violence witnessed in different parts of Nigeria. Ngozi Teknikyo completes the story.
Various media platforms have been flooded with different cases of gender-based violence in the recent time. Prominent among these is the case involving late Osinachi Nwachukwu, who is believed to have died as a result of domestic violence. As Nigerians were reacting to the ugly incident, a man in Plateau State, Samuel Matthew, was alleged to have murdered his 23-year-old wife, Mercy Samuel, and yet another young girl of Christian school said to be violently raped. This, the minister laments, as one more case too many of gender-based violence, which will no longer be tolerated.
We have 5,010 reported cases as of today. Fatal cases, 160. Close cases, 231. It's so heartbreaking that sometimes it's members of the family that will go and tell the police to leave the matter. Because nobody has been hanged, nobody has been killed, nobody has been announced life imprisonment. In fact, life imprisonment is not even good enough.
The minister, therefore, called on state governments, traditional and religious institutions to join in the fight to curb SGBV. In Abuja, Ngozi Technical, NTA News.
Kaduna State Judiciary has a new acting judge following the retirement of the immediate past Chief Judge, Justice Lord Mohammed Bello. Governor El Rufai sworn in the acting Chief Judge and acting Grand Cadi, promising to improve welfare of judicial official officers. The report.
Those sworn in are Justice Muhammad Tukur Muazu Aliyu as acting Chief Judge of the state and Kadi Abdurrahman Umar Abubakar as acting Grand Kadi.
That I will abide by the code of conduct contained in the 5th schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Justice is the job of the courts, and inshallah we are going to do justice to all manner of people without fear or favor.
The government has found us worthy, and it is our duty within the ambit of the law to justify the appointment.
Governor Nasir El-Rufai urged the new judicial officers to be fair to all and ensure quick dispensation of justice. He said his administration is working around the clock to enhance the welfare of judges in the state.
Regarding the running of the judiciary, I want to assure you that we'll do everything we can to ensure that the judiciary has enough resources to run. We will do the best we can. We are proud of our judiciary. We want it to function.
Those sworn in to pretend over the two arms of judiciary in the state pledged to live above board. The immediate Chief Judge, Justice Mohammed Lawal, thanked Kaduna State government for the cordial working relationship and called for upward review of welfare of judicial workers in the state. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Today, 23rd of April 2022, is World Book and Copyright Day. It is an annual event organized by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, to promote reading, publishing and copyright. According to UNESCO, storytelling is an incredibly effective tool when it comes to educating younger generations. The day is also dedicated to paying respect to renowned authors, including William Shakespeare, Miguel Cervantes, and Inca Garcilaso de la Vega, who died on this day. For 2022, the World Book capital is the Mexican city of Guadalajara. And just before we leave you on Panorama, don't forget to always stand with the Nigerian Television Authority in winning the war against rape and rapists. And that concludes Panorama for today. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Abubakar Musa saying, do enjoy the rest of the weekend.